Good morning, YouTube. Well, as they say, well, a lot of people say nowadays, don't they? Desperate times result in desperate measures. Is that correct? Right, as you know, my poor little car here had a new exhaust put on the rear. So from the halfway point roughly here to the end is new. Now this to the front now is blowing. And I know which part it is. I've bodged it a couple of times before. So I'm going to have one more go at it because the sun's actually shining a little bit. How long it's going to stay dry for I don't know. But I'm going to have a go as long as it's dry. The grass seems to have dried out a little bit. As you can look, see if you see, I reversed down here last night, which I've been doing. And trying to leave the car in a good place so I can get away in the mornings. But it had been raining a lot here yesterday. Nowhere else it seems to have been but here. So I came down here last night. As you can see, it's all drying up now nicely. But you see that ridge there. So I drove down. So that, if you like, is the front wheel. Got to there. As I stopped, it went zhunk. I thought, that's it, I'm not going to get away. So I left it that last night. I couldn't be bothered. But I got up this morning and I have managed to get it to there. So it's all dried up very nicely now. So I'm not worried about that now. What I am worried about is my exhaust. So, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let's have a go. So, can you see that? That's a new exhaust on the rear. Like I say, all the way to just before the flexi part. So it comes down from the manifold, and I think, is it after the cat or before the cat, you got the flexi piece. Yeah, it's after the cat you got the flexi piece. So the new part would go from roughly where the cat is, I think, to where the new part is. If that makes sense, yeah? But in the meantime, like I said before, I'm not sure how good this car is underneath. It's been in the rain a lot, in the winter a lot, just stood there. It was up in the air a couple of months ago when I had the exhaust put on the back, and it did seem to be getting a bit rusty and a bit flaky. So the question is the car good enough to go through the MOT? That's why I'm holding on with the exhaust on the front. I don't want to be putting another part on the car, though it's not an expensive part, but I just don't want to put any more on the car if they're going to say it's going to need welding, because that's just not worth my while then. Also, with this little car, as good as it's been to me for the last 12 months, so I had it July last year, and the whole time, after about the first couple of months, I've noticed the clutch is juddering, and it's slowly getting worse and worse. I can drive with the car, that's okay, but if anybody new got into the car, I'm sure they'd stall it straight away, especially when it's cold, or pulling up a hill, you know. So if you go round that corner there, I sort of, when you go up to there, I double back, I turn around, take a left turn and go all the way up there, along there, and up there, and it goes over the top and up there. So when I come around this corner here, I have to keep it going and try not to use the clutch because I know it'll judder, so I try to put it in first gear and just keep going without touching the clutch too much. And I can do that. But I think if I try to sell it, they're going to know straight away. And I've got to be honest, I can't let somebody buy the car knowing that the clutch is on its way out. So the question is, do I keep the car? If it's too much work to be done for the MOT, I will sell it as scrap, I'd imagine. But there will still be some MOT on it, and the car does drive. There's quite a few new parts on it, i.e. the battery's brand new. 3 new tyres on there. A 4th one will be done in the next few days because I've got a long journey coming up. So that's all I'm going to spend on the car is one more tyre. And then wait and see. The 8th of September is the MOT date. But if I can get it looked at, say, a week before that, so I know if it's going to pass the MOT or not, or what it's going to cost me to get it through the MOT. I'm not going to spend hundreds, because even with an MOT on it, the car is probably worth about them £500. Probably not that, because I know the clutch is on the way out, and so would everybody else, like £400 maybe, if I'm lucky. Which is fine. I paid $550 for it a year ago, and I've had my uses out of it. You know, it's got me to work and back. It's only let me down once. well, a couple of times, but really when I've been using it now, it's let me down once, and that was the slave cylinder for the clutch, which was replaced, which was great, but I know the clutch is on its way out, as I say. So yeah, when I first got back in the country, as you know, I had to put a new battery on there, a new thermostat. That's all fine. The car still doesn't like traffic jams. It will still sort of overheat. I'm not quite sure. Every couple of weeks I have to put some more water in it, but I can't for the life of me find out where it's leaking from. But it's just a small amount, and if I forget to top it up and I get stuck in traffic like I did the other day, I had to have the heater blasting away to stop it boiling over. So the thermostat doesn't always kick in. Now, whether that's to do with the fact that there just wasn't enough water in it, I don't know. So if I got the right amount of water in and I remember to do it, it doesn't overheat, and the thermostat does seem to kick in. It's very strange. So anyway, I've got 2 pieces of wood here, and to get maximum height, so the car's on a slant downwards, so this side of the car is up in the air more. That's why the jack's on this side. The flexi part of the exhaust I can reach. It's somewhere about there. If you look down, that's somewhere down there. So I know if I can get the car up in the air, I've done it before. Get it nicely up in the air using those pieces of wood so I get a bit more height, and I will crawl under there. It's not ideal, and I suppose it's not that safe because I'm on wet ground still. But I've got to give it a go. I've got to try. I've got a little bit more stuff I'll show you now, if you bear with me. So, bear with me a second. The car's open. So I've got a little bit more of this. It's like an aluminium tape, if you like, to wrap around there. It's very sticky. It does stay on there. It doesn't stay on there for a great length of time, but last time I did it, and then I put some exhaust putty over the top of it. This time I've got different types of exhaust putty. I'm going to try and put on the flexi part of the exhaust first, maybe. I'm going to have a look in a minute, and then wrap this round over, and then a bit more on top, and hope that stays on there. I haven't got any Jubilee clips, well, not large enough ones to go around and hold that on there, but I don't think that would do the job anyway. So let's have a go, shall we? So I've now jacked the car up, so I'm going to try and get underneath there. Yeah, so I'm just trying to work out where it was again. Yeah, so if you see, I don't know if you can see that, there's the cat. Isn't it? Let me have a look. I'm going to have a look from the front. All I've got left, there's some in there. Asbestos repair putty, and there's a little bit left in there, but it's very old. Most of that's gone solid. Let's have a look what's in inside this one. Probably even worse. I'm hoping this one I haven't used so much, maybe. Oh, there's a lot in there. It's very hard, but I think I can get that flexing again. So there's my tape. So first of all, I'm going to go under here. See if I can get you. Show you where I'm trying to get to. Can you see there? There's the flexi part. Can you see that? So you can see where I've bodged it in the past. Some of it's still on there. So yeah, so in the distance there, actually, I was wrong. In the distance there, there's the new exhaust. There's the cat under that covering there. So it's basically from there, just after the flexi, there's a join, and then there's a join just under here, which I can't get to with the camera at the moment, but it's up in there. Can you see that? So it's going to go from there to the other part of the flexi. So it's not a huge job, and it's not that much of an expensive job, but like I said, I don't want to spend any money on it now unnecessarily, because it might not go through. I can't get under the car well enough, really, to see how bad the sills are. So can you get the idea? Let me come back. So I've jacked the car up. I don't know if you can get the idea there of how much the car's on a slant now. So if I put that level, you can sort of see it. So it's a bit dodgy, but needs must. Yeah, what to do? I've got to get under there somehow. So what I normally do is lie on my back now on this old tent I've got there, which is what I was brought in when I first came back into the country last year. I bought that somewhere in Harryford for 25, 30 pound, whatever it was, and it basically lasted one night. And the ground sheet, because the tent, like I always say, I'm 6'2", the tent's only 6 foot, just wasn't long enough. And with me stretching out in the night, it ripped the ground sheet from the front of the tent. Only like a couple of inches, and it could be repaired, but it's not worth it for that, is it? So I just use that now as something to lie on when I'm doing any work. So I'm not going to throw it away, it does come in handy for what I'm doing now. So I'm going to get a little bit damp because the ground is still wet, obviously. So I am going to get a bit wet. Whether the car's in a good position or not, or whether I should move it somewhere else, I don't know. So let me have a look. Oh, let's have a look. So can you see now what I've basically done? Let me zoom out so you can see it better quality. So that exhaust putty now, I have now covered over the flexi part. Can you see that? So in the distance there you can see the new part of the exhaust. Comes onto the old part. Like I say, that's the cat, that's the flexi, and that's where it's going to join. So it's only from there to basically just before the cap, isn't it? I'm trying to see that right. Is it, or is it not? Or is it got to go further than that? No, it is just before the cap. That's okay. There is a bracket there. There, you see it? So it's from there to there. So let's have a look under the car. Yeah, I'm looking at the sills from here. You can't see them. I'm trying to look in the distance there. That's not the, so along there. It's all very grubby, isn't it? And I'm pretty certain there in the distance I can see some holes. I'm pretty certain of it. It's a pity because the rest of the car, as you can see, for 24 years old, is solid underneath, isn't it? So there's not much wrong with it. All the rubbers are good. Yeah. Yeah, everything looks fine as far as that goes. So it is a pity. I say I've got new tyres on it. So that's on there now. This is what I've put on. Upside down, but you get the gist. The other one was just too hard. It came out in a rock, which is there. I might be able to soften that up a bit actually. Bear with me a second. So what I've done is used what I can from both of the tubs, and they're both old tubs. They're from earlier, the ones from last year, but I've managed to get some usage out of that as well. So let me just get to my feet. So what I'll do now is I've put that on. I'm not going to bother with the tape at the moment, which I was planning on doing, but I've actually got enough of that putty. I've covered the whole thing. Whether it's going to stay on there, but I won't touch the car all day now. Normally, there's two ways of doing this, isn't it? 24 hours of not using it, which I can get away with. It's not in work till tomorrow afternoon. Or let it run for a couple of hours on tick over, which I'm not going to do. So I'm just going to let the car stand and we'll see how it gets on. Yeah, so that's basically it for now. So the weather's still okay, held up, so that's okay. The car does need a good clean out, but I might do that today. So I've got the long journey coming. If that's by any freak of nature should work with that putty I've put on there. It only has to last a few weeks, and then it'll be a case of a new part. So I haven't spent any money today on it, so that's not the problem. It's old stuff that I've already had rolling around in the car, so I decided to have a go. The weather was good enough. So today I'm just going to chill out, back in to work the next 5 days. So yeah, that's it. Whether it's going to be successful or not, I don't know. I'll let you know in a future video. Maybe tomorrow morning if I go to work, or tomorrow afternoon if I go to work, I'll put another video up quick. So I'm going to edit this one quick now. And everybody take care. I haven't done much recently because I've been work. Haven't been able to drive anywhere in between times because the car's been so bad with the exhaust, so you can't really risk it. So that's been it really. I've had a few days off now, spent that visiting family, friends and whatever. And today I'm just chilling before the work starts again for the weekend. So everybody take care, speak to you soon. Like, subscribe if you can be bothered. If not, don't worry about it. Bye for now.